my plan this week was I was like tonight I was gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna take my microphone, I'm gonna lay in bed and just talk, and I'm just gonna see
just
what
whatever
happens.
comes to mind.
Yeah, it was. It was just like I was really gonna lay back, close my eyes, and pretend like I was like an old-time detective talking to my recorder. 9:47 p.m.
God.
I'm all on my own because everyone else left me.
Yeah, this is like the one day that I'm actually at home at my computer with my decent microphone that's not on the road or in a hotel room.
Yeah, and this was the one day of the week I was gonna be out of the house, kind of doing something, even if it was just for like half an hour. Or no, it was almost like 2 hours.
God, you actually saw the sun?
Very briefly, yeah. It was. Let me tell you, it was terrifying.
The outside is a very scary place. I don't know why people.
It's
like
horrible.
It so much.
It's god awful. It's so scary.
Yeah,
There's so much. It's like, oh god, the giant ball of fucking fire is looking
Does
at
nobody
me.
talk about the fact that, like, I was thinking about that yesterday. That's a really weird thing. I was at the lake yesterday, and I was sitting there, and I was like, this giant ball of fire that's like, what, 9 million miles away? It's a long ways away.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's billions of miles away, I think.
Right.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
how far
it's so far that it takes light.
It's
a certain
super
amount of time to
far
travel.
away. It takes 8 minutes for that light to hit us.
Right.
It's 91 degrees right now. That
Yeah,
thing
that's-
is hot.
That's nuts. That's a big.
That thing is
That's a big hot
I was
boy.
just thinking about that yesterday. And it's wild.
Yeah. If you,
That's-
you get all existential. It's like you. It's like when
It's
people
like I had
like
an existential moment while I'm sitting on a floaty out in the middle of the lake where I'm like, dude, sun is hot.
sun's like so hot. Like if it wanted to, man, it could like totally kill us.
Yeah, I was like,
Like,
I had
good
that
thing
moment.
we're
I was
like in its good graces, you know?
yeah, we're like in that perfect little zone, and you just get real deep with yourself for a minute there, where you're like, we're in a perfect zone to where we're not like scorched constantly, or just cold all the time. Well, I guess like places like the north are cold, but like this area that we live in, God's grace to humanity, the south is always hot, which I believe is the closest place to the sun on Earth. Also, simultaneously somehow closest to like all the water because it's humid. It's crazy.
It's such a weird combination of things.
It is. We don't
I used to do this
stuff.
thing where, so at a park, they have this like ladder thing that's kind of curved a little bit, and so if you laid at kind of sat at the bottom of it, you'd be kind of leaning back and looking right up to the sky, and so I would look at the big giant blue sky just empty, and it would freak me the fuck out, and because I would imagine that scene from Son of the Mask where Odin would pop up and yell at Loki. That's what I would imagine. I'm like, oh shit, Odin's gonna get real mad at me for something, and it would freak me the fuck out. And this isn't like little kid. This is like I'm like 12, 13 maybe. Way older to worry about
functioning adult kid.
Right. I far too old to be worried about Odin yelling at me.
Yeah.
Far
But
too
yet
old.
you still are.
And yet here I was.
I think everyone should be frightened of Odin yelling at them. He's very
Definitely.
poignant, man.
He's super spooky.
He's a very spooky boy.
The spookiest.
Yeah. God, who would have imagined like the one episode where nobody's here? It's just I'm the only guest that shows up. I just thought about that too. Let's get real existential again.
It's very bizarre.
Like I've been here for what, 2 episodes out of the 75 episodes we've done?
Oh, hold on, I did an intro. Welcome to the most empty podcast on the internet. Not really, but kinda.
A little bit. It's
anyway.
pretty empty in here.
Hello.
It's like the inside of my head some days. You just knock and nothing's there. So yeah, nobody's here this week except these 2 good boys.
Just the 2 goodest
Not really
boys.
too good after what we did last week.
It was funny. So Tim comments as he's watching the episode, and at the beginning of the episode, he heard the warning, and he's like, his first comment was like, "Why would I be offended?" And then he kept going, and I think the end of it was like, "Oh, okay, I see, I get it."
If for some reason you missed
bad.
last week's episode, we paid a horrible injustice to the wonderful actor Vern Troyer, who is no longer with us. Oh, we're not great people. I realize.
No, God no.
This is kind of off topic. For some reason, I just went on the GoBicker Twitter. The GoBicker Twitter has more followers than the YouTube channel has subscribers.
Yeah. That's why I do make the extra effort to get a tweet out every week. But
yeah. I just know what the fuck. Is it Twitter bots following us or what?
I think it's a lot of Latino people that followed when Russ went and followed them. Like when he had brief access to the Twitter.
A lot of these people. Even people that I know I don't know. So we have Twitter. Go follow
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Don't subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just
Yeah,
follow us on
I
Twitter.
I'm curious. I want to take a peek. I don't know where I set up the RSS. I think I set it up on iTunes, and that's it. Before, like, there was
Christ,
something wrong with Google Play, and I couldn't even figure out any
it's
other
a
sites.
very intricate process that takes about 6 hours of
That's
straight work to get RSS set up across every single service that people could possibly use. It
That's what I
sucks.
discovered. Yeah.
That's what I had to do when I was our brand manager for GoBicker in the olden days. The dark days when I had time. Back when I had time to do things, I had to go through and set all that up, and it sucked. It was a whole day. I think. Well, it was between that and setting up the website that did take a while too. I think.
I would imagine that took a while, and I've been slowly undoing everything you've done and trying to make it look a little better. But I think it's kind of almost worse in some ways.
It's good. I'm looking at the website. It's good and it's bad. I do like it.
I feel like but it doesn't look as professional as some other people would have it.
Oh, but that kind of defines who we are, I think.
Yeah, it does. It is very representative. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It does not.
I mean, you look at it and it's hot garbage, and you kind of just go, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, the website is a very good starting point to see the quality of what you're gonna get from GoBicker. That's
yeah. It's like
you're not gonna be like, wow, this is a really nice site. Oh, everything else is just trash.
Yeah, you look at the website and you're like, it's kind of nice. Not really, but kind of.
And then you get to the podcast. You're like, oh, this kind of sucks. Well, not really, but kind of.
But kind of. It sucks just enough. You need to update the latest video, by the way. It's still episode 2.
I not? Oh, whoops. I always forget about that.
I went back after last week's episode aired, and I watched a little bit of episode 3, I think it was, which is one of the many episodes of this podcast I have not been fortunate enough to attend. And I like how the first beginning intro gambit, you were like, Chris could be dead in the ditch right now. Nobody would know.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in real life. Like, I think literally the rest of us have at least one person who would find out and be able to push the message on. Nobody knows you.
Russ is friends with me on Facebook. Which I'm not proud of, but he's friends with me on Facebook. So if I died, I assume somebody would make a post and tag me in it.
Okay.
I assume, but Russ isn't super good about like staying up to date with the Discords. You'd find out like 6 months later.
I feel like if you died, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a death in the family.
A death in the family.
I feel like that would spread. That would travel.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But yeah, there's my one link, which is Russ, which is literally the shakiest link we could possibly have.
But it's actually considerably more than I thought. So
yeah, I did forget about that because I was thinking about that when you said that, and I was like, well, I guess I better hope I don't die.
Yeah, we're like, soon. All right, it's been 10 weeks. We've heard literally nothing from Chris. Chris, if you're out there.
yeah, I didn't think about that, but now I just remembered. Yeah, I'm friends with Russ on Facebook, which, like I said, is about the shakiest link. I assume he'd say something, but I'm not 100% confident that he would.
Well, actually, the good thing, we don't have to worry about him listening to this episode. He doesn't.
Yeah. No, he's just here in spirit. He's not actually.
Yeah, every once in a while, he'll post something somewhere, but that's about as far as that goes.
He keeps bugging me about the axe, and I told him I feel kind of bad because I had Thursday and Friday off because I was in so much overtime. They made me go home. And
you poor thing.
I texted Russ, and I was like, "What's the next person that's gonna get the axe? I want to ship it today." I left the house, got a package to put the axe in, then got a call and got distracted. He messaged me today. He's like, "You shipped the axe yet?" And I'm like, "Sitting in my passenger seat in a nice bubble wrap envelope."
It's working its way.
I'm taking it one step at a time. I told him I'd ship it tomorrow morning, but that's most definitely not going to happen.
God, you're not someone to rely on. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I had full intentions of shipping it Thursday. I just got sidetracked.
Now you get distracted a lot by a lot of things. So do people in real life, do they have the same issue with you where they cannot fucking get you anywhere consistently?
Unless I'm like absolutely required to be somewhere, there's a pretty much like a 50-50 shot as to whether or not I'll show up.
So like I understand internet people take they take a back seat to real life people, but it's like the way you describe things, people in real life have to be really annoyed with this kind of shit too.
Oh yeah, I mean this happens all the time. Like the only thing I show up most of the time on time for is work.
Most of the time, you don't even show up to work on time.
Well, I mean it's like I work. I can set my own hours, whatever I want.
Oh,
it's very part of my job. But a lot of times it's like there's been times where I've overslept till like 10 o'clock and rolled in like 11. It's like, well, we're gonna late shift today. People are like, so where are you?
I was
Yeah.
I was working.
Real hungover. I mean, working.
I was working super
Yeah, so
hard. Don't worry about that.
there's a decent chance, like I'm kind of flaky. I'm bad about that. That's a habit I need to change, but I'm bad about it's like
Mhm.
doing one thing. And it's like I gotta go do something next. I gotta go like see my buddy Tom or whatever. And then
Maybe.
someone's like, "Hey, you want to go see this weird corn?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." You're here and Tom isn't. I'm gonna go see the weird corn.
I guess that's a big difference between you and me. Is I never want to do that kind of shit. Like, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to. Can we can play video games? I'll do video games.
See, that's the way I used to be, and then something changed.
I do sort of
hate it.
wish
Well,
I had that change,
Actually,
but
I know what the thing changed. I know what the thing that changed is I have money now.
that's a
I
big
have
thing.
job.
That'll do
It's
it.
because before it was like, okay, I'm stuck at home because I kind of feel bad because I drive a truck that drinks gas, and I'm like, don't want to make my mommy and my daddy pay for all this gas.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
disposing
huge
of.
thing. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of hang out here, maybe go out like once a week with a friend of mine and kind of fool around for a
Mhm.
little while, maybe get lunch at the cheapest, most heart attack inducing hamburger joint in the entire world.
Yeah.
But now it's like, yeah, I got money, I can go out. Yeah, I'll go
Yeah.
see the weird corn. Why not? I'll drive an hour to see the weird corn, which I did this weekend. It was good corn, but it's weird. Um,
I figured corn was just a random example. I didn't realize that it came from a place of.
no, that
Like,
actually happened. I
reality.
went to a festival and had some really good corn. It's
That's.
roasted, which is a
Whoa.
contender I never considered. in
I
the
would
argument.
take roasted over grilled.
Honestly, roasted is the best corn I've ever had in my entire
That's.
life.
I mean, it sounds like it would be.
It was
There's
super good
something-
corn. It was like
there's-
salted and buttery. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it
that
was
sounds
festival
alright.
corn,
Sounds
which
alright.
is literally the least healthy kind of corn you can ingest. but it was so
Oh, who? Yeah. Okay. Who fucking cares? It's butter.
Yeah, I mean it was super unhealthy, but it was real good. So festival food's really good. Went to a nice little festival this weekend.
I don't
Saw the corn and the man
think
on the
there's shit
stilts.
around that like that around here because it's just most of the year the town is frozen. So
Well, yeah, I mean that's what happens when you live in the cold north
Right.
beyond the wall.
yeah. I think
Has the Night
I
King
think-
arrived yet?
I think a big thing too is there's so many old people and there's so many fucking
Yeah.
hipsters that any event that does take place is so unappealing.
Yeah, it's
Like
the
I'm a
weirdest
hipster, but I'm not
combination
that kind of hipster, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not like the go to like an indie band, watch them and like watch them
Yeah.
jerk off into each other's mouths type of person, you
Yeah.
know? I
Pretty much
think
a live
there's-
performance about what we talked about doing to Gus Johnson the other day. Oh, but yeah, it's
Oh shit!
think
I
you
still
get
haven't
that.
cut out that section of the podcast. I gotta send it.
oh god.
Because yeah, I definitely don't want him watching that whole episode. That would be-
Let's not-
But I
let's
also
not
want to
make
cut
that
it
the
down
episode or
to like a
something.
watchable length, but also still include all the information that we need
Yeah.
to relay. I'm assuming that you jerking off to him wouldn't make the cut, but we'll see.
I mean, you edit it and it's live, so
right?
whatever. It's
Eh.
fine. Yeah, festivals are weird and fun. And there was a dude that fell off a bicycle and beat the shit out of himself. It was
So
bleeding
wait,
everywhere. It was crazy.
When you say festival, like what is?
It was weird because I didn't know what it is. My girlfriend didn't know what it is. We just like her parents were like, "Let's go," or she was like, her parents were like, "They have some kind of booth," and she's like, "We need to go to this thing." And I was like, "All right,
Okay.
sure, I guess."
Fine.
I'm not doing anything.
If you're gonna make me.
It's Friday night, so we went up there. We had to drive like an hour, which I hated.
Mhm.
And we got up there, and it was like we got up, and there was just a bunch of people riding bikes, like a bicycle race around the city. And I'm like, I don't like this already because there's physical event, like sports involved.
Yeah.
That's not my thing.
Was it like a bike
Yeah.
festival?
Well, no, it wasn't. It was the thing was it was like a festival and a bike race going on right next to each other.
Oh, okay. Because like when people say
And-
festival, I imagine like
Yeah,
a
like,
Renaissance
it was
festival,
like
and then you imagine
yeah,
all,
it was-
talking about all these bikes. I'm like, wait, what kind of fucking
well, it's
weird?
not like a Renaissance festival. It was like it was like a fair. Or not like
Like
well,
a
I mean, it had
fair?
sketchy fair rides and stuff. I rode a Ferris wheel and felt like I was gonna die
Okay.
the whole time, like that kind of festival.
Okay, a real
Um,
sketchy.
and there was, like,
sketchy boy. Okay.
A bunch of food. There's a bunch of food vendors and just a bunch of vendors. This is a neat little thing, but there's a bicycle race, and we showed up, and like everybody that was not participating was plastered. So it's like a bunch of drunk people, a bunch of
yeah,
bicycles.
bikes. Woo!
And you get
Yeehaw!
on the other side of the bicycle race, and it's just rednecks.
Nice.
It's all it is. Just it's like a Trump rally meets a bicycle race, and it was.
That's definitely not
wild.
the audience you would expect for a bike race.
No, because
You
I mean, it was
imagine
such a
kinda
different. It was
assholes,
so different
but-
because it's like you go along. There's all these little tents along like the racetrack,
Mm-hmm.
and there's all these people and all these businesses, and they look, I mean, they look affluent, like the kind of people you'd see at a bike race.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
sitting
What
there
you would
drinking
expect.
their yeah, they're just sitting there drinking their scotch or whatever, and they're all plastered. I know because they're stumbling into us as we're walking down the road, and it's like as soon as you breach through the crowd, and you see like Mama June leaned up against the Ferris wheel, and the dude running the Ferris wheel has 4 teeth and a rat tail. Looks like he just got done smoking crack.
Right.
It's like, you want to ride the Ferris wheel? I'm like, nope.
God,
So I
no.
guess what we're doing.
Are
And
you
it's the
allowed to
sketchiest thing.
drive? Oh my god. Sir, I need to see
You
a...
come on, you know, Ferris wheel. It's like one of the wheels is the Ferris wheel is popped. I didn't know that was possible, but it was popped, and it was like it was horrifying and it was scary. And you get through that, and then you get over to like the artsy part where it's like the people, the hipsters, which is the part I'm fine with because I can deal with hipsters. I have a hard time dealing with rednecks. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I should be used to it by now. But it's like when you get a bunch of crack smoking hillbillies. It was the most I have ever been to in my entire life.
It definitely sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like
I didn't
the
think
setup.
about that.
Like this sounds like what a comedian would make up for a
Yeah,
joke.
this is like honest to God, because it's like you get the carnies, and it's like there was a dude, you know, like it was wild because it's like then you get the circus dude walking around on stilts, like juggling the fire sticks, but he looked like a heroin addict because he had like four like stringy strands of hair and like the weird goatee and 5 teeth. He's like, "Hey kids, wanna see the fire?" It was the most fuck wild thing I have ever experienced. And then you get down the food.
Yeah.
And festival food, as everyone knows, is like the most unhealthy, but somehow strangely amazing food in the world.
Yeah, well, it's like everything you get, every food item at a festival is like a quarter grease.
Yeah, it's all it is.
Which you would think me of all people would love, considering my adoration for grease, and you know it's like the intro and outro music for this podcast. But you know, I'm really not a fan of really greasy foods.
I'm not either, but I kind of
really
got some good barbecue, which was good, and the corn, which I said before, roasted corn is pretty good. Now, dude, he pulled it out. It was unshucked, so it's like he pulled it out of the fire, like ripped the husk back and stuck it in a giant vat of liquid butter and salt, stirred it around, and hands it to you and goes, $5, please.
That sounds awful, but also intriguing.
You hold it, and it's like really.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I wouldn't think to keep its foreskin on.
Yeah, they kept the foreskin on the corn. They didn't even circumcise it. They just pulled it back to reveal that golden buttery corn and just like wrap the bottom of it in some tinfoil. Here.
That's not how you grill corn, though.
No,
right?
no, you wrap it up in some tinfoil. And you stick it on there. Well, you like put some butter on it. You just encircle it in butter. Wrap it up in some tinfoil, plunk it down on the grill, and let it sit there and do its good thing. Yeah, that was just that festival. That was a buck wild experience. It was fun, but it was wild, and it's not at all.
You wouldn't think you could describe something that also involved a bike race. That's wild, but you know what? Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, and it was just crazy because I didn't know it was two completely separate events, but they were literally right next to each other.
Okay, yeah. I guess I missed that. I didn't realize they were separate.
Yeah, no, it was two different things. It was like a spring festival for the city and a bike race going on right next to each other. It was crazy.
But I can't comprehend that. Why put the bike festival or the bike race next to the spring festival?
I don't know.
You live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Go somewhere else. There's a billion other places. Don't go right next to all of the fucking rednecks eating corn out of their 2 teeth.
It was. It's wild what happened. And it's like going back at about 10 o'clock, like leaving the festival, having to fight our way back to the bike race. Because of course we parked, in the parking garage on the other side of the bike race. All those people were so plastered, but there were people getting done with the bike race that people were taking their bicycles up the sidewalk where the drunk people were. So it's like 2 sober people fighting through bicyclists, cyclites, and
Cyclites, yeah, there you go.
Cyclites and drunk people was just insane. And I pushed a lady at one point. I think she spilled her beer all over someone. I was just so frustrated and tired.
Really, what would happen is the camera's following you, and you push her, and then it starts following her, and all of a sudden they start fighting. And then before the fight really gets intense, it cuts back to you. That's what
I'm just driving home casually. But yeah, it was an interesting event. I didn't think that segue would fathom into something so crazy. But yeah, that was how my weekend went. was like existential crisis on the lake,
That's
and
not even close to what I had. I mean, that's not
weirdest combination.
my
of
most
festivals.
exciting day of the year. Doesn't come close to that. My most exciting day of the year is like going down to like a beach that I've been to a billion times, and it's like it's not that interesting. And then I go there for 20 minutes and I come home. That's like woo, crazy day. But
all right, too much craziness now. Let's simmer down.
let's calm down, kids. Actually, you know what maybe my issue is my fucking sister always has the car.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't
That
help
also
me.
would factor into it.
I'm broke and my sister has the car. My sister has the car and more money than me, and that's not right because she's like 16, 17. That's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that.
I guess it says more about me than her, but it's bullshit either way.
Just take the car. Just key the car. There you go.
Well, the issue with that is she gets up earlier,
Oh,
so
yeah,
she gets
that's
out of the
got a
house
lot
before I'm
factored
even
into it.
fucking conscious.
Yeah, that's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. When you stay up till 4 a.m, you miss out on part of the day.
When you're nocturnal and not allowed to drive past 9 p.m., it really doesn't help.
Right,
and the
really,
fact that nothing is open past 9 p.m.
God, yeah, especially it feels like especially up north because it's just kind of like
that's the way it is here on Sundays.
oh,
where
it's
everything
too
is
cold.
open.
Gotta go back in.
It's like on Sundays, things are only open between like the hours of 9 a.m. and 11. And that's only so the church people can come in after church and do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
And then everything is closed on Sunday, except the liquor store in the one county that sells liquor.
Yeah, we don't want to be ridiculous.
Yeah, everything else is closed. I've even seen gas stations closed. It's wild.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, you can still get gas, but like you can't go in. So it's like if you need to pay by cash or need to get a receipt, you don't. You got to go to a big chain. Because a lot of these small little bitty like mom and pop gas stations, they just don't.
Man, speaking of gas, I made a tweet kind of a joke about this earlier this week, but a fucking oil refinery around here exploded this week.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Wait, was there an oil refinery in Michigan? Or Michigan,
I'm in Minnesota for one,
Minnesota.
you whore,
That's what I was in
and two, actually it wasn't in Minnesota, it was in Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's so I'm like right on the Minnesota Wisconsin border.
I didn't know they had oil refineries in Wisconsin.
If you looked it up, I bet you could find an oil refinery all over every single state. Like, there's nuclear reactors all over the goddamn place.
Well, yeah, but nuclear reactors are a little bit different than oil, I feel like.
I feel like oil is more common and necessary, though, in everyday use, though.
I mean, you can plunk a nuclear... I feel like George Bush.
You can perk a nuclear reactor.
You can plunk a nuclear reactor anywhere you've got something to cool it with. Oil's, like, few and far between these days, isn't it? Because that's like...
I don't know. Well,
I mean, I'm certain you're right. There's probably oil.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not making it up.
Yeah, I believe you this happened. But
well,
it just seemed, I never considered the fact that there's like oil in Wisconsin.
Yeah. The main thing where I am is there's ore coming through it. Lots of iron. Yeah, I mean the big part of the northern part of Minnesota is the Iron Range.
Oh yeah, we don't have anything like that down here. We just have like we've got a big nuclear reactor. Like speaking of that, we have a big nuclear reactor like 10 miles away, which is very healthy.
Oh yeah,
like, we're within that range where we get the alerts whenever they test the nuclear reactor sirens and all that.
Ooh,
where it's
I wouldn't.
It's within that you might die if something horrible happens at range, which is fun.
I wouldn't want to live there. I gotta say,
yeah,
like they're extremely safe.
Yeah, they're very safe. I appreciate that. I get my power from this wonderful nuclear device that lives basically on my doorstep.
The issue is they're safe until they're not, though.
Yeah, and it's like it's on the lake. It's actually on the lake that I went to this weekend, and it's like you can't get within like a mile of it on the lake. You have to be like really far away, and they've got a bunch of buoys. Like, do not come over here.
You will die.
Yeah, it's like you will die. And
you cross over this, and like you will shrivel up immediately.
The sketchiest thing in the entire world is there's like a giant water intake in one cove, and there's fucking signs everywhere. It's like, if you hear the sirens, turn around and run, because you get sucked into this thing and die. Oh and it's like there's skulls and crossbones. It's like sketchy. My dad's always like, let's go up to that, see what that's like. I'm like, no,
let's just go to the door.
Not gonna happen.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's super sketchy.
Yeah.
It makes the lake water really cold, so that's nice during the summer.
I guess I like so. But it was interesting because I didn't have class that day when the oil refinery was on fire.
Oh, what day? What are you talking about?
That day of the fire, and so I slept in, and then I kind of woke up at one point, and I looked at my phone, and I saw an alert from the local news saying that the refinery had exploded. I'm like, oh shit, and I went back to bed. And then when I woke up, I went upstairs. I'm like, hey mom, you heard about this? She's like, Yeah, I think that's smoke out front. And so I looked out the front window, and yeah, sure enough, there's a big fucking smoke cloud on the horizon. I'm like, oh shit,
That's
look at
crazy.
that. And then like, so kind of like a nuclear reactor being close to your house. There's like schools all around this refinery.
Oh, good. That's
So
healthy.
like they had to evacuate all the schools because the fumes and whatnot were dangerous. Like there was an evacuation notice in like a 10-mile radius
Oh,
for this
shit.
fucking thing because they're like, shit, man, you might get some like I don't know gas poisoning or whatever.
That's not fun. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'd want to live in, because at least in a nuclear reactor, like if that blows up, at least someone would be like some cool Fallout character. An oil
Yeah,
refinery blows
you
up.
might become a ghoul. Yeah.
Yeah, I can become a ghoul and live forever. But you're like, the oil refinery explodes, you just kind of die.
Yeah, you're done.
There's no help. There's no hope for.
Well, actually,
becoming
what
some weird
happens
government
if it
experiment.
like actually I'm kind of shocked there actually wasn't any deaths. There were like 20 injuries,
Yeah, I mean, there's
but I
gotta
think
be
one
people hurt.
critical. But other than that,
It's
but
pretty
like
wild.
you get burned though. At least like a nuke.
Yeah, you
get
get cooked up
nuked.
pretty good.
You get nuked. You burn up. It's probably really painful, but
Yeah.
briefly. But like if you're set on fire, dude, that's nuts. That's
Yeah,
not
that
not a
would-
good time.
That's not one of the ways I want to go. There's not a lot of
No.
ways I want to go, to be
God,
entirely
no.
honest. But that's one of them. That's just like, nah, not really hip on the whole, burning to death thing. That sounds
Yeah.
very painful.
I remember once when I was quite young, me and my cousin, we used to have a lot of sleepovers and stuff. And one time, we were probably like, I don't know, like 13 and, well, no, probably younger than that. Like, probably like 13 and 11. And she says this crazy existential question. She goes, so would you rather want to be burned to death or drown?
Oh,
Oh, fuck, I don't,
oh,
so then I'm 11 years old, imagining myself either drowning or burning alive.
I don't
And
want either of those.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like, man, they both don't sound like a fun time, but then you're picturing it though, and it's like,
I feel like
it's
I
horrible.
feel like drowning would be less painful. Like
That's,
it's
I
not.
don't
It's
see. That's what she said too. I
I
said
feel like
burning
that's
because I
more
figured it'd
just
end quicker.
uncomfortable. But burning is very, very painful.
Yeah, but it just kind of you burn and then you're dead.
Yeah,
It's like really hotful.
hotful.
It's
very
really awful
hotful.
briefly, and I guess
It
drowning
says
takes
drowning.
longer.
Does it though?
I feel like it would.
Because I feel like you black out after a certain point, and then you're drowning
I
still, like you're
suppose.
still alive, but you're blacked out.
I feel
so it
like
doesn't- and I
the
guess fire, you
pain-
probably do the same thing from just black you out from the pain.
The pain of fire would kind of you wouldn't be able
I
to
think
think
it's the thing
about
with a
it.
lot
If
of
you're
death.
drowning, you can think about your situation. That's the thing. You can
Yeah.
panic and realize, and like if you can like see the surface of water, or maybe you're in like a glass
Yeah.
box and you can see outside, and it's like you can like full panic. But like if
Yeah.
you're on fire, you just
It's
burn,
just kinda like,
and that's all you're thinking
"Ah!"
about. It's burn, ow, fire, hot. So
I don't know. That's a horrible, horrible question, because I don't know which of those I'd want. I mean, I
Exactly.
wouldn't want any of them ideally.
Right, yeah, but yet here she is, like probably 13 years old, and she's like, what would you rather? I don't know. They both sound bad.
Yeah, 'cause even as a full-grown adult,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know what I'd choose. Like I said, I feel like drowning would be less painful, but you're not wrong. Like, yeah, you can see, like, you can fully grasp your situation if you're drowning.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
assume anyway. I've never drowned, but
No, but like, I
nor
mean,
have I ever been lit on fire.
being underwater, you kind of realize things. Like even if you're underwater for just a tad too long and you need a breath,
Yeah.
you're still
Because I think
aware.
everybody's been through that moment where they're littler and they dive on the deep end of the pool.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's not at that age where you can't go into the deep end, but it's like they're right at that age where you're able to. You dive down to the bottom and you're like, "This is super cool," and you're like, "I need air." And there's that
Yeah.
moment of panic.
Yeah,
where you're
exactly. At
trying
that
to get
point,
back to the
you're
top.
panicking, but you're aware of what's going on. You're thinking still,
Yeah,
and you can.
and the adrenaline's
you can
kicked in. So yeah, you probably. I don't know, man.
So that's the thing. It would be more traumatizing, but it's like, but then you're dead. So does it
Yeah.
matter?
Oh.
See, I don't know. I'm still like I said fire, but when I was young, and I think I'm
Yeah.
still sticking with fire, just because like it's quicker. I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
See, my big one, like the one that I wouldn't want to go, like absolutely any way to die at all would be falling, like a significant height. Like those people that jumped
Yeah.
out of the Twin Towers on 9/11, that's
Mhm.
horrifying to me
Yeah.
because it's like you can just kind of see the ground coming. And you're like, I'm gonna be dead in 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Splat.
If you can count down to your imminent
I
death, I think that's
Do
pretty horrible.
not at
Yeah.
all want that ever, and that's just not something because no,
Mhm.
because when you're drowning, there's still that moment of like, well, I might make it, even if you're on fire.
Yeah,
You're falling.
you might
hit a
you might be
certain
pounding
velocity,
on whatever is around you,
Yeah.
keeping you contained.
Yeah.
If you're on fire, you're like, well, at least this will be over soon. But if you're falling,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, it's like, I
either
mean, the
you've
thing with
made the
fire and
decision to
water,
jump and you're watching your
there's-
imminent death, or
yeah.
you've been pushed
There's
and
still
you're
a
still
chance that you
watching
might
it coming.
survive with fire or water, though. Like someone can pull you out of the water and resuscitate you. Someone can put you out with the fire.
Right? Yeah.
If you're falling, there's no saving. You're just
Spider-Man's
dead.
not coming for you.
No,
you're done.
You're just dead.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. It's horrifying because that's just you're just like, okay, there's nothing I can do now.
Yeah, you might as well just, as you're falling, just shrug your shoulders and go, look at the camera and go, wah, wah, oh well.
Just give that Jim from The Office look.
Exactly, yeah, exactly like
So-
that. And then you just splat.
Yep, and then you're dead. Someone's got to get a big spatula and scoop you up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not at all the way I'd ever. That's my least favorite way to die out of all the
I
ways.
wonder. I don't know if that's my least favorite. I feel like getting eaten by something is probably even less preferred.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, just I think anything where I think the worse it gets is when you can think about it more.
Yeah,
The more aware you are of
if
your
it's-
death, the worse it
if
is.
it's definite. Like
Yeah.
it's happening and it's definite, you're gonna die. Because like I said, with fire and water, like it's a 90% chance you're gonna die, but there's still a little itty bitty hope.
Yeah.
Somehow you're gonna survive. There's still a chance. If you're like falling, depending on the height, there's a fairly decent chance. I think it's like once you hit terminal velocity, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're like being eaten, if you're getting eaten, you're dead. You're pretty much dead. There's no way you're
Well, and
surviving
if
it.
you're getting eaten by like some sort of a tiger or something, maybe you might even be able to watch it for a little while and watch them pull out your guns
Yeah.
and chomp on you. Ugh.
Well, that's like watching The Walking Dead. So
Yeah.
we have that show on this podcast. Like every time the zombies just nom down on someone, it's like that is not the way I'd like to go.
No, and they're screaming the whole time.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
always got me watching that show. Is when they're getting munched on real good by the zombies, because that's not a way I'd like to die at all.
Oh God,
It's-
no! God, no!
How did this get so like morbid?
Oh, it happens. I almost wonder if I should. Well, yeah, we're talking about weird, depressing things. You even mentioned 9/11, so this actually relates.
Oh God.
It's not about 9/11 necessarily. So early on in the year, in 4th grade, I think on 9/11, we would talk about 9/11. As like in like our social studies portion of the day.
Right.
Which is so weird if you think about, this is unrelated now. It's so weird thinking about how elementary school worked, where you're just like in the same spot all goddamn day,
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
in the same people all day, every day, all year. Ugh.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can.
obviously,
That's also why I
it-
couldn't work in a cubicle. That
Yeah,
just
no.
that's crazy. I mean, when you're a kid, I guess it doesn't matter as much.
Well, no, you don't know anything
Because-
different, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you're just kind of like as an adult. Yeah, look back on that and be like, no, I would not be able to do. If that's the way college was, no.
Yeah.
But
Well, and even for me, like, it was almost worse for me going to a small private school for a couple of years,
Oh,
where
God.
it was the same people every year then as well.
that's-
Because there was
that's-
one 3rd grade class and one 4th grade class, so it was the
Oh,
same
God,
people every year.
no.
And so it's like,
I would
and
hate that even more.
I had a bully there, and so I had to deal with my bully every day for 3 years. It was terrible.
that's not.
And I
that's
ended
not
up getting in
wonderful.
more trouble when I fought back, which was the worst thing.
Yeah, I never got
Like
that.
one time I spit on her because she had grabbed me and she was giant and she grabbed me and I couldn't get out, so I spit on her and I got in a lot of trouble. It was such bullshit. I hated it. Anyway, so in 4th grade we talked about 9/11, and for whatever reason I don't remember why we started listening to these, but my teacher had these 9/11 music CDs, and it'd have like sad songs and like news clips from 9/11 and everything. Like it'd be like clips of George Bush talking after the attacks and everything. And this one horrible clip, this little girl like praying to her dad who had died, and she's like, and there's one bit where she's like, I remember when you used to tickle me.
It's been a year, Daddy. I really, really miss you. Mommy says you're safe now in a beautiful place called heaven.
And it was so, and like, in the background there's music. It's like, oh, da, 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 ba. And it's like, it was so fucking sad. And we listened to it much longer than September even.
God, what?
Like started September 11th, and it went till like the last day of school. Whenever we had work time, we'd throw in these
Jesus.
fucking 9/11 CDs.
What kind of
And-
school did you go to?
It was a Catholic school, so we were children of God.
You're children of God listening to the horrifying events of September 11th.
Pretty
May
much,
we
yeah.
never
Like there
forget.
would be like clips of like news reporters and and George Bush being like, "We got to come together as a country."
Yes,
And-
like as an adult, that stuff fascinates me just because.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, it's. I mean,
what happened, but
I'm
is that-
still
why would they
interested
do
in
that?
hearing about all the shit that happened that day
Yeah.
and all the stuff that came after.
Like,
But
that's not-
this was like
Yeah,
CDs about the attacks.
yeah.
This was like
that's just
these are
weird.
these are all songs about like that. Those couple hours in that morning.
Yeah, that's just weird.
It was, and I didn't
making you
realize
listen
at
to
the
it well
time how
beyond
fucked
9/11
up
is
that
weird.
was until I didn't really
Yeah.
realize really how fucked up it was until I started thinking about it again recently. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that was so fucking weird.
Yeah, we never had anything like that. We had like 9/11 Remembrance Day where we'd have like a
Yeah,
nice
you
little
would, yeah,
parade go
like
through
most
the
people had
gym,
the day. Yeah.
and then we'd forget about it the next day. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it happened every single year. I could not imagine all year them being like 9/11 and we never. I wonder if there was
Yeah.
like somebody in that school, like in charge of that school, that was involved in it somehow. That's just like
No, they were the teacher's CDs, I think. All right, so I've got something to show you. Some real bullshit. I don't know why I'm recording this with a proper camera. Also, if you're an audio-only listener, this is probably really confusing. Okay, but look. Okay, it's timeline. It's going there. It's normal. It's bob up and down because why not? There's this track right here. There's audio. Boom, no audio, and there's no audio for the next fucking however long. Yeah, look. There's a times. You see, the minutes are just going past, scrolling by. So we're not now at an hour. That was like the 37-minute mark or something. 1:29:58:16. Chris's audio comes back in. I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything. I didn't shut anything off. I didn't press any buttons. I could still hear him. I was talking this whole time. We were having a conversation. But I guess OBS just didn't wanna do that. So that's cool, I guess. So I guess that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. In the future now, I think all parties are going to have to record their own audio with Audacity, like I'm doing now for this post-mortem of this goddamn podcast. So it's going to randomly cut back to the end of the podcast now here in a minute, because there's still a little bit left in the video. I feel like we've had so many audio issues with this podcast and with Crusty Pickled Grandma's last year. We need to do something different, so we don't keep losing episodes like this. So I hope you enjoyed what you got so far. Maybe you'll get some more in a second. I don't know. Either way, bye, I guess. For no reason, we have a viral podcast.
Yeah, I was really hoping the Vern Troyer one would be viral, but no.
God, I almost dreaded it. It's like I knew it wouldn't, because that's not how anything I've ever done on the internet works. But
It's the
like-
most
but it's like-
viewed episode so far.
like, oh God, no.
It was not the best thing we've ever done on the internet, not gonna lie.
No.
It's not the worst. The live one was pretty bad.
As far as quality, yeah, I'd say that one was worse.
No, it was just pretty all around pretty bad.
Boy, yeah, towards the end of Crusty Pickled Grandma's, it wasn't doing great views-wise either.
No. We actually get 22 episodes though. It was still the reigning champion, Maplecast or Broodcast, whatever, has like 37 episodes or something like that, which is
Yeah,
wild.
But at the end of that, it was again like
38 episodes, I'm sorry.
at the end, it was just me.
And by the end, it was the Cartooner cast with the BGN logo slapped on it.
And that's every single goddamn week with this show too. I'm like, is it just gonna be me talking? Very well might be. I don't know. We'll see.
I'd like to show up more for it. 'Cause I enjoy
sure.
talking. It's just timing is horrible. But yeah, so BGN, we still have 38 episodes. We're getting there. We're gonna beat it with this one. We're gonna beat this dead horse.
This one
until
for
we have
sure,
39
yeah.
episodes. This one for sure. Not really, but kinda. That's our third podcast. Is gonna be this one for sure.
We'll do it this time. Yeah.
We'll make it third time's the charm.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Third
There we
time's the
go.
charm. That's a good one.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
come up with a good name for a show that will hopefully never.
Yeah,
have
we're
to do.
already coming up with our ideas for the name for the next podcast, and this one inevitably catches fire in the sunset.
No, I think at this point I've set the precedent that not every week is gonna have a consistent cast, so that when no one else shows up, at least I can still say. I could put something up and be like, yeah, well, it's something. You should have
Not really.
expected something shit like this by now. Because as
Yeah.
even, boom, episode 2, nobody showed up. It was
See,
like
the thing is, if we
right off the
set a
bat.
precedent for being really bad when we actually do eke out a good episode eventually, it's gonna be real
Yeah.
good.
I don't feel like any episode was really bad. It's
No.
just like there's so many better shows. Is the thing.
Yeah, I look back and there's so many episodes of Crusty Pickle Grandmas. It's just like it was so much better. We had something going on there, and now it's like it's still good. I still enjoy it.
I think if there's one big thing I would change, it wouldn't even be the scheduling thing. I feel I would be that I wish sometimes we would go further in depth with what we're talking about. But I feel like
We get
just
sidetracked a lot.
we get sidetracked and we just kind of move on really quickly. And I like sometimes when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, I wish we would have. Feel like there's more we could have talked about there. And there's also a lot of times where I'm listening, even recording it. I'm like, oh, there's a joke there. I know there's a joke, but I'm not funny enough to make it. I don't know what it is exactly, but I can see that it's there. Oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Like I know. Oh fuck, a McElroy. They can make a joke here.
Yeah,
McElroy.
we're bad about. Well, this is like the ADD of podcasts,
Oh,
where it's
God,
like, oh, I don't even think we answered the Yahoo. I think we just kind of talked about midgets and segued to bad.
No, I mean I
comic
mentioned
books.
it. We
No.
mentioned that they had camouflage abilities.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
I really liked when what's his name? Fuck, I can't remember his name. The Scottish guy who did a late night show for a little while.
Scotty McScotsman,
It was Colin Ferguson.
Craig Ferguson.
Craig Ferguson. Fuck, I really like him. I can't believe I forgot his name. I liked how sometimes he would end his segments with just an awkward silence, or he would give his guest two options. He would like an awkward silence and something else. I don't know, but it's like that's such a good way to end it. I always think about that. That's how we should end this show as well. Like, all right, awkward silence, and then it just rolls.
Here's our
credits.
opportunity. Here's our chance.
All right, yeah, let's do it. It works better actually if you can see their faces.